What's up? So today I'm going to be making a simple strap build that you can use in any power level 160. The reason why I'm making this video specifically is because after the update, power level 160s are actually very simple to do. But a lot of people still don't 100% know how to really strap. So this is just going to be a simple guide on, I guess, how to solo a 160 efficiently and strap efficiently. So the main hero I'm running for the loadout is Base Kyle. Not really much of a surprise. I'm just going to run recycling just because it is a simple video, you know. Like, you can build off of what I'm using in my loadout as well as the weapons that I'm using. So I'm just going to use recycling. I have Knox and Mega Base Kyle, of course. I'm just running Hotfix or Hazzard. I don't really know who else to really run, so you can switch them out for anyone you want. And then Warden Kyle is great. Really helpful for dealing with gunslingers and blasters. And then I have Battle Beat Wildcat because she is just extra 50% damage as long as you're killing enemies. And if you're using melee specifically, extra attack speed, which is always very good. And then the gadgets I'm running are just Slow Field and Banner. They're, in my opinion, the two best gadgets to run if you're doing a solo defense mission, so that's why I'm running those. Again, you could switch them out for anything you want. It's not really a big deal if you run either of those two or something else. And for the mission we're going to be doing is this evacuate the shelter. I'm doing this mission specifically because, well, the objective is really big, so, you know, you could use the same build for any other defense mission, like data is really small. You could probably just use the strap tunnels for doing a category 4. And the modifiers that this mission has is water, of course, because we're in the ice zone. Wall awakening kind of sucks for a defensive build, and F-bombs, and then of course some slowing attacks. But yeah, other than that, let's get straight into the mission.
Check your map for the location of the shelter. Find the shelter before the husks do too much damage.
So because of the weird terrain that I have on this side of the objective, I'm actually going to do a weird technique where I put some ramps kind of like this in the terrain to motivate enemies if they do end up destroying some of the ramps to want to, of course, still walk through the strap tunnel. Because even if they do destroy like a 4, there's just a ramp to catch them and then they can just walk back up. So that's basically what I'm doing here. I don't ever suggest doing this, by the way, for like a defensive build, because smashers, and you'll see later on in the mission that smashers do not like that whatsoever. They will just charge and destroy that, but as long as you know, you kill the smashers before that happens, it should be fine. But yeah, other than that, it's just gonna be like a simple sort of build, just, you know, cover the objective like normal. Just going to drop my base down right away. Might as well, because I am running recycling. And if you've seen some of my other videos on evacuate the shelter, then you know that I do like doing a secondary roof. It just helps out, honestly, a lot. Super simple. If you have the extra building resources, you might as well. And because I want good connectivity with my base, I'm going to be placing some walls and doors like that so I can get in and out. Because I will be placing ramps to help, you know, the base's range to affect as much as possible. And it also helps too, because that means enemies that do land from the air, from a flinger, they don't just drop down into like a random wall, so they don't damage anything. And they're more likely to just kind of land, or I guess not land, but go into the strap tunnel. But yeah, this is pretty much the strap tunnel. It's just 2 tiles long. And the straps that we will be using is a sound wall with a unupgraded reload perk, because we will be comboing that with a wall light. So you can have a wall light that stuns and then a sound wall that basically alternates. So you have like some enemies that get stunned in place, some that dance. And we're actually going to be using gas. Normally, I don't really like gas because it's like one of the worst traps in the game because it gets completely countered by anything the game could send. But ever since the change to power levels, it's actually a really good trap. So that's why I'm kind of using that as my main ceiling trap. It's very good, honestly. Like, it's actually kind of funny that I went from like an F tier trap to probably like A or if not S tier, honestly, overnight because of the update. I also put some health pads too with building health on those ramps just to help, you know, preferably smashers not destroy those instantly. But yeah, pretty much I'm just upgrading the ceiling, upgrading the strap tunnel, and yeah, it's really that simple. Basically it's just some gas, dynamos for damage, and then just some other support traps. Now you could probably replace the wall dynamos with something else. I'm just using dynamos because they're more optimal to use than broadside, because they do hit 11% more damage than broadside, because this is a water zone. But I do highly suggest for the, I guess, the wall straps for damage, you run like a copy that has 2 reload perks instead of, you know, 1 or none, because of the low power level that power level 160 enemies have. It's actually more optimal to run 2 reload perks instead of just running a crit build, because it just means that the straps will have better uptime, so they can, you know, basically pick off enemies a lot better. So your build is going to be less, you know, RNG. But yeah, pretty much just going to copy the same build really quickly. It doesn't take too long to make too, and it's not very expensive. But if you really wanted to, you could probably just get away from running supercharged straps and just not using any tier 5 straps at all whatsoever. But yeah, it's just going to block off, of course, this lane right here because I don't want them coming down here at all. Because I would have to make another strap tunnel, or of course just put something down there. And of course going to block off this top part here. Again, don't want enemies, of course, going somewhere where we don't need them to go. And in case you did miss the straps that I used 2 gas straps, 1 sound wall, 1 force spike, 1 wall light, 1 freeze, 1 wall launcher, and 2 wall dynamos. And those are the straps that I used. I'll put the perks for all of those straps in the description of the video in case you do, of course, want to know exactly what perks everything does have. But yeah, this is just a simple build. If you want to replace any of these straps with something different, like the gas with ceiling fields or tires, the wall dynamos with broad, or wall darts, you know, you could just do that. It's not really a big deal. This is basically just a template build, I guess, you know. But yeah, doing some barricades right here too, just to help funnel them into the little tunnels. And you want to do this too for small barricades. Make sure you put wall launchers, because impact traps like wall, 4 launcher, tires, even broadsides too, can stagger enemies or knock them back, which can actually reset the AI of the husks, so they're more likely to go into your strap tunnel and ignore your barricade, which is really good. And it's honestly a must-have for these sort of small builds like this, because you obviously don't really have the space to, you know, build that many barricades, so. But yeah, that's pretty much the build. Very simple. Nothing really too complicated. Also, some anti-airs do help too with the block-offs in case exploders do aggro on your barricades, or they decide to throw their propanes into the tunnel because of their line of sight of the main walls of the objective. But yeah, other than that, that's pretty much all you really need. Just need some good connectivity with your base, some good support for your barricades, and that's pretty much it. Just going to, of course, max out the secondary roof real quick. You know, because the last thing you would want to have is, you know, a build that's great against everything and then loses to a few flingers. But other than that, that's pretty much the entire build. I'm just going to cut real quick to the wave, so see you in a second. Okay, so real quick, the weapons I'm going to be using, I'm just going to show the perks I'm using right now. So I'm using both the Xenon bow, and I'm using the Fender Tech Seeker. And those are the perks for both weapons. And I'm basically using the Xenon bow for all of the basic mobs that just show up. So basic husks, the pitchers, zappers, wobbers, you know, huskwings, and then the Fender Tech Seeker against huskies mainly, mist monsters, and of course smashers. So that's the duo of weapons I'm using. You could of course again just use any other weapons you want. Like as long as you have like something for just regular enemies and something for, you know, single target enemies, you should be pretty much fine. Also, I don't know if this was just me, but in the actual defense, there was just like a lot of blasters. Like, I'm pretty certain I killed like 20 or so different blasters in the entire mission, which is kind of crazy, honestly. I don't think I've ever played like a normal mission like this with that many blasters. So yeah, another reason why you probably would want to have Warden Kyle in this loadout. Helps out quite a lot. I guess I could plan like, you know, like Survivor's Jonesy, I guess instead of Hotfix or Hazzard. I guess he probably would have been a lot better, but I guess it doesn't really matter, you know. But yeah, if you're kind of wanting to do the same build as me with this terrain, make sure you just do this technique for shrapnels. Yeah, with smashers, they just destroy that. So I'm just kind of trying to, of course, get them to just go into shrapnel. And of course, trying to kill the smashers. Probably not the best idea, but I don't think it really matters that much, you know? Their power level is still relatively low, you know? The mini boss I got too in defense, I guess, got pretty lucky. Got a shrap vulnerable mini boss, which is pretty nice. So all I had to really do is just lure him in front of my shrap's, or just keep him underneath the gas, and yeah, he pretty much just slowly but surely dies. So pretty easy mini boss for this one, I would say. I will mention though that Husky and Sniper mini bosses can be pretty bad for this build, but again with the power level, change or update bug, whatever you want to call it. They're still pretty easy, you know. Like of course smoke screen mini boss, use a melee, smasher mini boss, just try to stall him and run like a super high damage weapon, you know, just things like that. But there's nothing really much else with the defense. It's pretty much all done. There's not really much going on. There's just lots of blasters, and that's kind of about it. Bit of a shame though that there wasn't really anything interesting though with this main defense. Some spoilers would have been nice honestly to have, just to test out of course the, you know, the sound walls. But sound walls were pretty much dead honestly because there was no spoilers. Could have replaced out with like a second warlight or another damage trapper of some kind. But yeah, I mean, I guess if you do struggle with spoilers, you could always add like a second sound wall, like replace either the warlight with a different, you know, copy of sound wall, with different reload time, or replace one of the Dynamos with another sound wall, if you really wanted to. This build is pretty much like a, you know, I guess blank slate, I guess if you wanted to call it, you know. Lots of things that you can add to it if you want to. Like if you want to put like those Dynamos on Windows that start shoot through, you could do so, you know. Or replace like the orange with like a wall spike. Wall spike wouldn't be too bad actually. But yeah, I mean I'll probably end up testing more builds honestly to see what's the cheapest option, you know. And also probably test out different tiers of traps too, to see again like what's the best and what perk sets are the best, because you know currently the I guess the meta for straps is a little bit different at the moment. But yeah, other than that, you can use this build for any power level, I guess not any power level zone, but any mission for 160s, because 140 4 players specifically are like power level 201 for some reason, which is like a lot harder than this power level, which I don't understand why. But other than that, hope you enjoyed the video, and see ya.